Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Investigamer, and today we're going to talk about Watch Dogs, specifically my review of Watch Dogs. If you haven't seen it, go watch it now. Stop this video, go watch my review, because you'll be kind of lost. I'm going to be referencing a lot of the things I said in the review, and it's just better for you to get the whole experience of seeing what I said about the game and what I'm changing my mind about now that I've seen more information. Sometimes, when I review a game, a week or two down the line, I change my mind about stuff. Or I see new information that makes me change my mind about stuff. And that has happened with Watch Dogs already. In fact, that happened before I was even done with the review. But oftentimes it takes me 3 or 4 days to write, film, edit the review, and all that stuff. So far down in the review process, by the time I'm in editing and stuff, if I find this stuff out, I can't just go back and reshoot, parts of the video to change my mind about what I was going to say. I have to stick with my guns on what I said and then make a follow-up video, which is what I'm doing now. There has been some new information made available to me. First of all, my computer, I want you to know this, is very, very powerful. So I did not know that this game is just so poorly optimized for PC. It is fucking ridiculous. I've seen people with... I'm gonna ignore that, that's my phone. I've seen people with a Radeon 7950, they can barely crack 30 FPS on this game. They have to cap it out at 30 in order to play the game on high to ultra settings. This game is good looking, yes, it looks pretty nice, but it is not on par with Witcher, Last Light, Crisis. There are a lot of games that look fantastic, much better than this game, and run fine on high-end PCs. This game, on the other hand, I've got dual 760s in my computer, dual NVIDIA 760s, 3 gigs of VRAM on each of those suckers. I know it doesn't combine, but just so you know, they're 3 gigs, alright? It's not like I'm saying there's 1.5 on each, it's 3 gigs on each. And I got 32 gigabytes of RAM, I got 4770K, that's a Haswell processor, quad-core. I usually have it clocked at around 3.8. My system is fairly high-end. It's, probably in the top 10% of PCs in terms of power, in terms of beefiness. That PC can run Witcher 2, maxed out. Last Light, maxed out. It can do Crisis pretty fucking good. All these games have great optimization and can play on very powerful computers. Watch Dogs, on the other hand, my computer, I got maybe 50 to 60 FPS. It would hover around that range, and sometimes it would go a little bit lower than that. When I started recording, Fraps wouldn't even work for this game very well. It would freeze randomly. The game would just start freezing. So I ended up having to lock the FPS at 30 so that I wouldn't get these random freezes, and plus I had to use Bandicam. Because I don't really like Bandicam, folks. I like Fraps, and when I have to use it, it annoys the shit out of me. So you can imagine getting the footage for this game afterwards and knowing all these issues without being able to go back and add it into my video was a little frustrating. In any case, that's one issue I had. PC optimization was fucking god-awful. Some people, they have these really powerful computers and they're AMD builds and they can't get 30 FPS with these huge beefy cards on ultra settings because it's just so poorly optimized. It's barely even working for AMD cards. I'm lucky I have NVIDIA. So they need to fix that. They need to release some updates. They need to get this shit, working like an old machine, because that's just unacceptable, all right? It's unacceptable. Secondly, a lot of people were talking about the driving. They were saying it's floaty. I can see where you're coming from on that. I honestly can. Maybe I'm wrong that it's not on par with Grand Theft Auto, but I personally had a lot of fun with it. I like specifically the turning mechanics and how the back end of the car will often, fishtail around. I like how it has that difficulty of use. It's more difficult to steer than a lot of games that I've played. I haven't played Grand Theft Auto in a while, so I kind of, my memory's hazy on that. But I know that you can't possibly... Some people were saying it's more arcadey than Saints Row. I like Saints Row, don't get me wrong, but more arcadey than Saints Row? Saints Row has some pretty arcadey driving, guys, so I gotta disagree there. Come on. Third thing I want to talk about is the hacking. It may work really well, like I said in my video, but once you reach maybe 10 hours into the game, you'll start realizing there's not a whole lot of depth to it, not a whole lot of options. They let on that it was much more detailed in the trailers a long time ago. There's maybe 7 or 8 different things you can hack. There's like steam pipes and the guardrails, explosives, that sort of thing. You can overload transformers, but at the end of the day, there really isn't that much to do. It's not... You run out of things. It gets boring eventually. It does overstay its interest. So that's one thing I gotta say. Total Biscuit did point it out in his video that you kind of run out of things to do. There's not all too many hacking perks when you really get down and think about it. It's not that detailed, alright? And plus the missions are also not that detailed. There's a lot of escort missions. There's a lot of doing the same thing over and again. It's fun, don't get me wrong, it's fun, but the detail isn't really there, and the trailers led us to believe it would be highly detailed. The world just doesn't seem as real as something like Grand Theft Auto. That's one thing I did want to point out. While at face value it's a very fun open world game, it doesn't have that level of detail that games like Grand Theft Auto would have, or games like Red Dead Redemption would have. Still a good game, but that's something I did find getting into the end parts of the game, overstaying those 12, 14, 16, 20 hours of gameplay. Once you get to the end game, there's just not really that much to do. While in Grand Theft Auto, it's fairly limitless. And lastly, I want to talk about the online. I have not been doing online... And lastly, I want to talk about the online multiplayer. One of the things that makes this game so fun is the online multiplayer. I've seen it played, I've seen people play it, and it does look a ton of fun. Total Biscuit was raving about this mode, and I didn't get to play it personally. I'm not much of an online gamer. I don't really do it that much. I don't get the chance to, I don't get the opportunity. I'm just not interested. Maybe in the future I'll start putting multiplayer segments into my reviews. I'll talk about the multiplayer and compare it with others and all that stuff. But right now I'm more of a single player kind of guy. In general, I usually leave that out of my reviews. I judge the game based on its single player components. I'll maybe talk about the multiplayer, but I won't actually get down and play it. That may change in the future. It probably will change in the future. Just not right now. Anyways, thanks for sitting through this vlog. I just wanted to sort some things out about Watch Dogs. Sometimes I miss some things. Sometimes, my build doesn't show me the issues other people are having. So whenever I catch them, I like to, make bank on them. I like to go back and make videos about it. I don't want to leave any stone unturned. I'm really glad that a lot of you, for the most part, gave me very respectful comments, very, very nice about the things you caught, about the things that I missed out on in my review. I'm glad you guys seem to enjoy the video, at least, even if I did make a few mistakes. And it's really nice that I have this community that doesn't fly off the handle every time I fuck up. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where someone gives a good review of Watch Dogs and everyone's like, "Did you even play the game? What a fucking retard. How did you miss this? It sucks on PC. Blah, blah, blah." So I'm just glad that you guys could be very mature about it. Thanks. I love ya. I'll see you next time. I'm the Investigamer and signing out. Bye-bye. Don't I have a slogan or something? Whatever.